Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Star Citizen Rambles videos. These are the ones where I just sort of turn the camera on and let my belly rumble. I've got paint up because I think it'll be... Whoop. Had some artifacts going on there. I think it will be useful to help me describe some stuff and to help you visualise. Because I wanted to talk about side grades. I got a very interesting comment about someone talking about how they didn't like the comparison between the Caterpillar and the Galaxy. They felt the two were very different ships. And I completely understood where it came from, because it reminded me a lot of when I don't like it when people compare the Banu Merchantman to the bigger hulls, because I feel like the ships are too different. And I felt like it was the same sort of thing going on here, because there's sort of side grades in the same vein. And it got me thinking about one of the best things that is in Star Citizen is everything is pretty much side grades to each other in some way or shape or form. And that is one of the beautiful things about Star Citizen. Everything is situationally better than each other. So you're not going to be able to just always beat someone by just making this specific choice. Like, that choice you made will be situationally better, and the choices they make will be situationally better. And you can tailor your choices to suit you, your gameplay, the choices your friends have made, to situations you expect to deal. And I just think it is a beautiful aspect of the game. And let me talk about this a bit now. So, the progression starts off as a line. And you'd think of it as like you'd start off with something small, weak here, you progress up and you get something bigger and stronger. That's the way it works in most games and works in Star Citizen. You have like you start off with your small ships down here, your starter ships, then you go to like something bigger and better, something bigger and better, something bigger and better, something bigger and better and bigger and better. But Star Citizen is a lot more complicated than that. So if that's your basic branch here, then you have branches out that are side grades as well. So the most obvious of that will be like combat. So for combat, we'd have branches coming off that are side grades for combat starter ships. And we'd have branches coming off for like medium. Oh wait, go back. I wanted to do different colours. So we've got our combat ones coming off. Small, medium, large, capital, etc, etc. Coming off, and these are your combat side grades, and then you've got your more industrial. Let's go, I don't know, yellow for industrial coming off. Boom. But then, combat is a very varied thing. Industry is a very varied thing. You've got your branches coming off of these. And your branches coming off of these, going into your specific professions. And these are all still just side grades of each other. And then inside the professions, you've got side grades of side grades, of side grades, of side grades, of side grades, of side grades. So as this obviously gets a lot more complicated, and eventually you'll get down to the individual ships. Like we've went over here, we can see maybe in the small ships, industry leaning, you've went off into, like, say, maybe trading here on the industry side. Then you can branch off into, I don't know, maybe the nomad there. So can like nomad there. And I don't know, what's another small trade ship? Hull A. So there we go. So they are side grades to each other. And then you come back, and it's the same thing. They're side grades to the combat ships over here. Maybe you've got, in this little, we'll do light fighters in this vein, and you've got like a arrow here. We'll just put an arrow A, and then I don't know, maybe Gladius. We'll put just a G there, just for speed. But you see what I'm saying is they're side grades, and they're situationally better at different things, and so yeah. Then you can maybe have mining ships here, and so forth. And then you've got the same up here for the next tier, the tier 2 mining ships. So you've got like the mole, and any other variants there. So you'll eventually will have other mining ships in there, and there'll be side grades to each other. It's one of the best things in Star Citizen. I just wanted to take a quick second to talk about it because it is very, very interesting, and I just wanted to talk about it because nothing else really to say. So you've got small ships down here, your starter ships. Then you go to like obviously up you go to like small, which will be about here. Then you go to mediums. Then you go to large, subcapital, and capital. And so it's not just a linear progression. Side grades are going to be a really big thing. And if you like specializing in one particular thing, you then branch out into that. Like if I don't know, we just select everything, delete. You really like, I don't know why I deleted it, actually, because I'll just bring it back. I don't really need to draw a hint to explain it. Like, you can start off with a starter ship. You find out what the type of things you like, and then you tailor your stuff into it. And let's go back to talk about the example here of the Galaxy we were talking about, and how I think it is a really, really good comparison with the Caterpillar. Because let's take them at the both. Let's go up this tree, the tree of progression in Star Citizen. They both come up here, and they're in the large ship, large subcapital, somewhere between large and subcapital class of ships. Then they both lean heavily over this side with industry. So they're both somewhere over here, and branches can have multiple links coming to it. So like we could, like if I just want to draw. Like it can come up here, and then you can have this branch off here and this branch off here, and then you go, there's the ship we're talking about here, the Galaxy, we'll just say it's there. So it comes up and it's leaning on the industry side. You've got this big huge tree that's grown of progression, and you've got the Galaxy there, and you've got the Caterpillar there. And so they've both come up, they've got different stuff. This one's a link of these two, and this one's a link of these. The Galaxy's here, a link of these two, and this one's a link of these two. They're great side grades to each other, in my opinion. They're both large, like the sort of similar size between large and subcapital. They're both lean in industry, and they're both modular ships. And they both are good at several roles through their modularity. So they're ticking a lot of the same boxes. But the reason they sort of branch away from each other and become great side grades is that one of them has several modular bays, like we talked about in the Galaxy video. So it can have a sort of jack of all trades, master of none sort of aspect to it, where it can take one of them is medical, one of them is cargo, one of them for, I don't know, holding prisoners, collecting bounties, and a fourth one is, I don't know, some sort of specialised armoury for troops, to keep troop on your ship. We don't know much about what modularity is going to be available for the Caterpillar, because they've not really talked about what the individual bays are going to be. We know what three of them are definitely going to be for the Galaxy, and that's the medical one that we talked about in the Galaxy. I don't need to describe it. So yeah, you've got a jack of all trades. You can sort of handle lots of different situations, just sort of tailor to fit, but you've got nowhere near the capabilities to deal with each of those situations, like a medical situation, say a bounty hunting situation, a ground combat situation like the descriptions we gave earlier. You've got nowhere near the ability to handle those situations the same way as a dedicated ship would be. Like for the medical one, for example, we'll say maybe you've got a single tier 2 bed, whereas a dedicated ship in the same vein will have lots of beds, but you've got about quarter, because you're splitting up your modularity across 4 ways, you've got about quarter the ability. And even if you did fully narrow in on that point, you're still not quite as capable, because as we're going over to the Galaxy now, instead of having 4 modular rooms, it's got the one really big one, and it takes, literally for the medical one, it takes a full hospital. It's got the 3-tier 3s, the 2 tier 2s, and the 1 tier 1. And it's back to front, remember, so the tier 1 is the best and the tier 3 are the worst. So even if you did take the Caterpillar and fully done the medical, you're still not even getting that tier 1 bed. And so the Galaxy is just as good, or, well, almost as good, or just as good, we don't quite know for sure yet, as a dedicated ship. So that's why it's sort of branching off. So they're the same. They're very, very similar. They're going, and as you see here, they're coming up, and then they're heading over to this very similar location over here in the tree, and then they're just slightly branching out different ways in the ends, which is why they're side grades. One of them goes into being very good at a singular task and being very good at it when it wants to be, but it can still swap between those tasks if it heads back to a large enough outpost that it can handle it swapping its base. Again, we need more information to find out how easy and how hard that is going to be. We don't really know. And then the other branches off into being more jack of all trades, master of none. So this is what I'm talking about. This is why side grades are really, really good. So it gives you lots of choice, lots of personality, lots of customization. Like for your second ship, someone might come up and go, right, I've got a really good modular ship, jack of all trades in this side, like one or the other here. So they decide for their second ship, they want a side grade that takes them in a completely different direction over here. Or they might say this is definitely the niche they like, so they're going to get the different ship in this, so they're good. They can handle a lot more situationally, kind of thing. Well, that's probably not the right way to describe it over here. They're more have the perfect ship for every situation. So they know they're going to spend 99% of their time needing a ship that is somewhere around here. They know that the Caterpillar will be able to do it. The Galaxy will be able to do it. But situationally, you're going to want one over the other, and they know because they're spending that much time over here, they're going to invest in getting both. Whereas someone else might decide that they want to keep going down. Like, they're just going, they go here first, then they go and they go for the same sort of role ship in the next tier, same sort of role ship in the next tier, same sort of role in the biggest and best. It's going to be a great system for you able to refine and specialize and customize and give everyone lots of options that are always good. Choices that are always good. You're never going to feel like you made a bad choice unless you decide for some reason you really want to specialize in combat, so you come over here and you do that, and then you're like, yep, let's just get the direct upgrade, and you realize you're not really enjoying combat. Then you made a silly choice, come back here, but you should have realized that here and then branched over to here, kind of thing. And now we're getting convoluted, and I'm just going to throw squibbles here, there, and everywhere to make it even more convoluted. But I think we are done talking. I've talked about side grades and why I think is an amazing thing in Star Citizen. I just wanted to do another Rambles video. I like rambling and I like talking about Star Citizen. So yes, I hope you have all enjoyed this. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.